which for me is kind of a record because usually I have one trip booked at a time, and that is the next trip. So this one involved a lot of planning in advance and setting things up, and it started as just the week in Miami, and then it grew to this cruise, and then that cruise, and then that cruise. And sometime along the way, I forgot something important. It is Sunday,
December 17th,
2023, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about 2 stupid travel mistakes I just made that ended up costing me money. Welcome back to Sunday Sofa Time, everybody. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I've been making travel videos for over 15 years about popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. And I guess you could consider me a professional traveler. The trips that I do and the content that I make surrounding them are how I make my living. So I guess that makes me professional. However, this doesn't necessarily make me an expert at it. In another recent video where I sat down to talk to you Sunday Sofa Time style, I talked about certain little things that I have forgotten more than once, like my toothbrush, cables, underwear, things like that. I have gone on trips where I've forgotten little things that have been minorly inconvenient. However, this time, I made 2 mistakes that just pretty stupid. I don't know, maybe sitting down and talking about it will be therapeutical today. Maybe going through the process will help me realize how it happened and hopefully not make these mistakes again. By the way, you can tell I'm not at home in front of the usual sofa that I sit down and talk about travel-related topics in front of. I'm here on the Celebrity Equinox right now. We're cruising up the coast of Mexico on our way to Bimini, actually. And it's kind of windy and choppy today. So I've been spending most of the day inside, and this is actually the 4th video that I've shot today. I'm starting to feel kind of hoarse. All right, the trip I am on right now is a pretty long trip. I'm gonna be gone from home for 4 weeks basically, and it began with flying from Hamburg, Germany, where we live, to Amsterdam, from Amsterdam to Atlanta, Atlanta to West Palm Beach. We stayed in a hotel in West Palm Beach for a night that was not very nice. Video is already online about that. And then we boarded the Margaritaville at Sea cruise ship for 2 nights of Margaritaville at Sea. The experience was a lot better than I think a lot of people expected it to be. I would recommend it for a certain group of people. Talked about that in other videos as well. The day that cruise finished, we boarded this ship, the Celebrity Equinox. We're gonna be on this ship until Saturday. On Saturday, Marcus goes home. Some friends of mine from Germany come over. We're staying in Miami Beach for a week to do Miami Beach things. And when that ends, my sister's coming down and we're cruising on the Independence of the Seas. So I had 3 cruises booked and 1 land vacation booked all at the same time, which for me is kind of a record because usually I have one trip booked at a time, and that is the next trip. So this one involved a lot of planning in advance and setting things up, and it started as just the week in Miami, and then it grew to this cruise, and then that cruise, and then that cruise. And sometime along the way, I forgot something important. So fast forward to a couple days before we leave. I'm going through the check-in process for these cruises and adding the add-ons that I felt like I wanted to add on, including buying an internet package for this cruise so I could post pictures and little video clips along the way. So I paid, I think, $149 in advance to make sure that I would have internet while on board. And Celebrity, at least this ship, uses this super fast internet now, and it's been working really good. So bought the internet package, everything set. Fast forward again to when we were leaving the Margaritaville ship to get to the Celebrity ship. Marcus and I were thinking, that's right, on Celebrity and on Royal Caribbean, you can bring 2 bottles of wine per cabin on board. And it's a great way to save a little bit of money because we all know drinks are expensive on board. Our bar tab is usually one of the highest expenses we have when we're cruising. When I say we, of course, I'm talking about Marcus and myself. I'm not talking about myself in the third person. But even when I don't cruise with Marcus, my bar tab is also a high expense. So if I am on a cruise line that will allow me to bring some of my own, I usually do. So we're leaving the Margaritaville ship, taking an Uber to the Brightline train, taking the Brightline train, and then taking another Uber from there to get to this ship And I just sort of spontaneously asked our Uber driver, do you think we could stop at a Publix or some kind of grocery store on the way so I could buy some bottles of wine to take with us on the cruise? And he was like, sure, I mean, fine with me. It's going to cost more, but we can do it. So we did it. We stopped at a Publix. Marcus sat in the back seat and chatted with the guy. I literally ran in, grabbed 4 bottles of wine. I also grabbed some snacks and a drink for the Uber driver, by the way. And then I ran back out to the car and we continued on to the ship. So this is where it gets fun and where I realized my stupid mistake. And before I throw it all on the table, I just would like to remind you that you can subscribe to this channel to get updates about when videos like this and more travel related content go online. It's totally free and it really helps me out, as well as buying a copy of Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It's a book I wrote full of travel stories about real things that have happened to me while traveling around the world, including when I had to get stitches on a cruise ship. It's available on Amazon now. Good. So now that we've got that out of the way, fast forward to me getting on the ship, opening up the app, starting the internet and all that. I had totally forgotten that in this package that I booked for this cruise, 2 things were included: an internet package and a drink package. Oh no! So yeah, I booked internet for this cruise even though we already had internet. And we also stopped and bought 4 bottles of wine, even though we have a drink package. So I'm still trying to figure out how this happened to me. And I think it's because of the way that we booked this cruise. Talked about this many times before. As somebody who basically works in the travel industry, I have access to a couple websites that are like Expedia, but for people in the industry, that offer last minute deals and special discounts for flight attendants, people working in hotels, things like that. And the deals there change very often and sometimes change even during the course of a day. So we had our eye on this cruise for a while and had almost booked it several times until the day came that we finally booked it. And on that day, the package included internet and the basic drink package. And I don't know, I think we had looked at it so many times when that wasn't part of the package that for some reason that information just didn't get saved on the hard drive up here. Does that make sense? So I did go to guest relations and explain to them that I made a mistake and somehow bought 2 internet packages. And you might be asking yourself, well, how could it be that they would even sell you an internet package when you already had it? And that was a question that I had as well. And the thing is, in the package that I booked, it is just the basic internet, which will allow you to send texts and make text posts, but you can't send any pictures or upload any videos or watch any videos. And what I paid for in advance, the $149, was for the super fast premium internet, which is something that I would have wanted anyways. But if you already have basic internet and you upgrade it here on board, it only costs around $50 and not $150. So I went to guest relations, explained to them the stupid mistake I made. I asked them to help me out with it, and it took them a couple days, but they have now refunded the extra money that I paid, and now I've only paid for the upgraded price. So great customer service here on Celebrity. And as far as the drink package goes, yeah, I guess we did open one of these bottles of wine to sip around the cabin. It's a little more convenient than running out to the bar and bringing a glass back when we're getting ready to go out for the evening. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to end up taking these 3 bottles of wine off of the ship again and bringing them to Miami next week. And maybe I'll still have one left for when my sister comes down to cruise on the Independence. Not a problem at all. They're not going to go to waste, but of course it's just kind of inconvenient to have an additional 3 bottles of wine to carry around for the day between leaving this ship and getting to Miami Beach, because Marcus and I are going to go check out the Fort Lauderdale boat show, which is happening this weekend, October 27th, 28th. And so yeah, just more stuff to schlep around. As always, I love hearing about your unfortunate travel mistakes and forgetfulness. Please let me know in the comments below if anything as stupid as this has ever happened to you. Have you maybe booked 2 rental cars for the same trip, or ended up getting someplace and realized, oh wait, I never booked a hotel? Let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to reading those and seeing you back here on the Very Unofficial Travel Guide soon. By the way, the limit is 2 bottles per cabin, but we managed to get 4 on again. I guess they're just not really good at checking who is in what cabin. I'm looking over here because the wine bottles are up here. Bye-bye.